Hi, it's Ray, ChubbyRay Comics. I don't buy single issues. I buy trade paperbacks. I buy omnibuses. I love talking about them. And today, I've got another question. Reed has a question. Reed says, hey, I love the vids. Could you do a video recommending your favorite Epic collections, please? Of course. That sounds like a great video idea. All right, Reed, got it. Let's start this video by looking at my Epic collections. I have a lot of them, and I love Epic collections. So let's take a look at them. There you go. There's my Epic collections. All my Amazing Spider-Man. I've got the Avengers. I've got Avengers West Coast. I've got some Captain America, some Carnage, some Daredevil, Deadpool, Defenders, Doctor Strange, Excalibur, Fantastic Four, Generation X, Ghost Rider, Guardians of the Galaxy, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, more Iron Man, Marvel 2-in-1, Moon Knight, Power Man, Iron Fist, Silver Surfer, and I have a bunch of Star Wars. And then Thor. I have a gigantic collection of Thor books. Thunderbolts, Wolverine, X-Factor, X-Force, X-Men, modern Epic collections too. I've got a bunch of Epic collections. So now let me tell you about them and then you can get started collecting them. Let's talk about Epic collections. This is an Epic collection. It is a regular comic-sized paperback that's thick. This has 440 pages. 440 pages. And when you look at Epic collections, you have the front, which will tell you what it is. It'll have the Epic collection along the front, and it will also show you what the title is, and it'll tell you what the name of it is. The thing to look at with Epic collections is the back of the book, because the back of the book is where you will see what volume it is. This is volume number 23. The volume is important because when you collect books, you want to get them in order. This, for example, The Return of the Sinister Six. This is another Amazing Spider-Man book. It is volume 21. So what you do is you get as many as you can. You try to get 21, 22, 23. Now, what do they collect? Let me show you what these books collect. The Return of the Sinister Six has over 490 pages on it. It's another Spider-Man book, and it's art by Eric Larson in this one. Eric Larson is fantastic. So these are the pages of the Epic collection. It is great. So they're not as big as Omnibus. They're not as big horizontally or vertically. It's because they're regular comic size, but they're a quick read. They're not as clunky as an Omnibus. Like for example, this book, Return to the Sinister Six, is from David Michelinie and Eric Larson. Now, so I have this Epic collection, but I also have this Omnibus, which has the story in it. But the reason I have the Epic collections is if I want to specifically look up something from the Return of the Sinister Six story, rather than getting out my Omnibus and finding it and going through it and carrying this clunky thing around, it's easier to grab the Epic collection. And I have the books right here. And this is not as clunky. It's easy. I could read this in the bathroom. I'm not going to take an omnibus to the bathroom. But I will bring an Epic collection to the bathroom with me. Or if I just feel like reading something in the living room, I just come in and grab an Epic collection. I know that this is the Return of Sinister Six because it's right here on the cover. I know it's volume 21. So I just grab this Epic collection and I could read it. And if I especially want to read something, it's easier to do it here than to grab the omnibus and find the story inside it. So I prefer reading omnibuses. It's not always easy to read an omnibus. It is much easier to read an Epic collection. For example, if I'm going on vacation and I want to do some reading on vacation, I grab an Epic collection because this just goes in a carry-on. It's very easy to take with me. Rather than bringing heavy omnibuses, I just grab a couple of Epic collections. They're light. They just go right in the carry-on, and it's easy. Here is a Thor Epic collection. This is a Thor Epic collection. This is volume 19. Thor Beta Ray Bill on it. I mean, look, this is a great looking book. This is an Avengers book. So this is what the Avengers book looks like. There's the back. and you see the volume number. Epic Collections are very cool because the stories are always awesome. They're easier to read. And they also come out at weird times. For example, they don't put out volume 21 and then next month put out volume 22. They go in a random order, which is kind of crazy, but they do go in a random order. You'll see books come out maybe once a year. They rarely do reprints, but they do some reprints. For example, I don't have any Punisher Epic Collections. I would love Punisher Epic Collections. Marvel, in case you're watching, Chubby Ray would love some Marvel Epic Collections. I don't have any. I would love some. They occasionally will do reprints and they'll put some out. In fact, there's one that's coming out later this year, early next year. There's a Punisher book coming out that I'm planning on getting. But I do love Epic Collections because they're cool. I mean, they're cool. And I do keep my Epic Collections on their own shelf. I used to put my Epic Collections with, like, I have all my Spider-Man paperbacks back there. And I used to have my Epic Collections in with them, but now I have switched them around. And all of my Epic Collections are in their own area. There is the complete Epic Collection shelf. It's a Billy shelf from IKEA and just filled with Epic Collections. And I love it. I love it. Now, some of you may be wondering, why do I have those if I also have the omnibuses? Well, that's because I have a sickness and I can't control myself because I have a sickness. But it's also because Epic Collections are easier to read than omnibuses. I do like grabbing an Epic Collection from the shelf and just reading it. And like I said, if I'm going on vacation, it's easier to grab Epic Collections to read than an omnibus because they just fit in carry-ons and they're lighter. It actually, for your luggage purposes alone, so you don't want to take, it's hard to take omnibuses on vacation because of the weight. Well, Epic Collections don't weigh that much. I mean, look, they're very light. I can't do that with an omnibus without dropping it. Now, Reed, you want recommendations of my favorite Epic Collections. That'd be great if I have favorites, but I don't really have favorites. I mean, I showed you some of the Amazing Spider-Man are pretty cool, but there are so many Epic Collections that are just awesome. It's hard to pick favorites. I would say I do like Iron Man Epic Collections because Iron Man doesn't have a lot of omnibuses. So if I want to get Iron Man stories, Epic Collections is one of the ways to get them. But Iron Man Epics are hard to find. I would suggest getting an X-Men Epic Collection. I would definitely recommend Amazing Spider-Man Epic Collections. I would recommend a Thor Epic Collection. A Star Wars Epic Collection. Star Wars Epic Collections are pretty cool, right? These look awesome. I also like modern Epic Collections, like Spider-Man Deadpool. This is pretty... These are cool. I highly recommend this Epic Collection. Here's a modern Epic Collection of the Red Hulk. This is really cool. This is a Hulk modern Epic Collection. This starts that Jeff Loeb Red Hulk story, which I do not have on Omnibus. So I would love to have it on Omnibus, but I don't. And it's good to read it in modern Epic Collection. And I like Iron Man modern Epic Collection. Is pretty cool. So I hope you learned a lot about the Marvel Comics Epic Collection and modern Epic Collection today. I hope that I've given you some ideas. The coolest thing about Epic Collections is it doesn't matter where you start. It just matters where you finish and when you stop with the collection. Like I started out just grabbing a couple, and now, of course, I'm trying to find as many as I can. A sickness. They're not all currently in print. Once they go out of print, it gets hard to find them. But you can go to panel bound, in-stock trades, TV graphic novels. Even Amazon has Epic Collections. You can even find them in some Walmarts, Targets. All those different places have Epic Collections. I love Epic Collections. I think you will too. So I highly recommend them. And most importantly, I think your collection, it's up to you what you want to do. I highly recommend getting any book. I want you to find whatever Marvel character you like. Get an Epic Collection. Figure out what volume it is. And then start your collection. My personal favorites are Fantastic Four. I like Amazing Spider-Man. I really enjoy the Star Wars stuff, and I love the Iron Man stuff. There's so many, and they're just fun. So Epic Collections are great. I think you'll like them. Reed, I wish you luck, buddy. I wish you luck. I hope you start your Epic Collection and eventually you love your Epic Collection the way I love my Epic Collections. There's nothing like an Epic collection. Reed, thanks for your question, and I hope I answered it well. I'm Chubby Ray. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next video. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and comment. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next video. Bye, everybody.